Hey, in this video I'm going to talk about a trade recap. But before I do, I'm going to talk about mental health and day trading. So some people, they learn about day trading, but then they don't really think that mental health will affect them. So with trading, it's not like a regular job. In a regular job, you can get a paycheck and at the end of the week. And sometimes your mental health won't be that great always. You can do your work and be a little angry and impatient sometimes. But if you still put in your hours at the end of the day, you'll get the same paycheck. And sometimes you could even have a bad day, and if you've been working long enough, you can get PTO or paid time off. So in trading, it's similar to a business. You can't do any of that. And if you don't get enough sleep, and then the market opens and you're late, there's a window of opportunity for a trade to happen, and if you miss that opportunity, that's it. But then if you get angry and impatient because you missed your opportunity, you can put in the hours, but it's not like a job. You won't get paid the same amount of money just for putting in the hours. In fact, you'll most likely lose money if you're not dealing with your psychological problems. So with me, I've been impatient under the PDT rule, and I've been angry and frustrated as a result. And so that's affected my trading. I wasn't on my A game. And so in my last trade I made last week, it was a setup that I knew, according to my track record, the one that I've kept on a spreadsheet. I have over 100 trades showing that most of the time, if I short about 3 patterns, these 3 short setups have made me the most money, and they're the most likely or high odds pattern to happen for me. And yeah, I ended up buying, and then when I buy, I don't have any buy pattern that I buy after hours or after the market closed or the main trading session. And so I ended up buying after hours because it looked like some short squeeze. But anyway, that was a result of me really being angry and impatient because I've been waiting for a while or I felt like, okay, I might be having to wait for a long time for my trade setup to show up. But when it doesn't show up, it means I'm not supposed to trade. And then sometimes when I'm impatient, even though it's not one of my A setups, sometimes I can still make money. Like I had a feeling there was going to be a short squeeze on this low float stock, and I'll get into the trade recap after this little talk. But I didn't buy during market session before after hours, And then when I saw that, oh, now it finally took out the high of day and the pre-market high, I was getting impatient. And then in the back of my mind, even though I didn't trade one of the recent runners, top, that ended up squeezing short sellers after hours. It went up 1,000% from 20 all the way to $200. This stock was around $20, and so I didn't expect it to go to 200, but I thought that this might do some big short squeeze, so I bought it when it was breaking out. But then I had some time to cut my loss, but then I didn't. But the reason why, though, was because that I traded this was because I'm impatient under the PDT rule. I'm trying to get over it as soon as possible. And so that's something that, let's say, like if you're in college, even, you might think that, oh, I don't need this class for my career. And you might be impatiently doing your assignments, and as long as you pass, you don't need like an A plus. You can just pass sometimes with a C or whatever. And if it's not a real competitive career you're getting into, as long as you pass, by when you graduate, you should end up eventually being qualified to get the career that you want based on your degree. Okay, excuse me, I'm going to drink some water. Okay, but in trading, you can't do that. You have to be patient. And you have to deal with your anger and your mental health problems. Or you'll end up doing dumb stuff like how I did and just buy a setup that it's not a high odds setup, and you have no evidence that if you trade this setup over time you'll end up making money, but you end up doing it anyway. And then on top of that, you probably won't cut your loss because you get impatient. And with me, I already used 2 day trades on Friday, and it was a Monday I was trading, and I was thinking if I cut my loss, now I won't be able to trade for the rest of the week until Friday. Okay, but anyway, the problem was my impatience, but then I was saying, okay, but why am I impatient? Why do I want to just make $25,000 right away? And I'm realizing that that's pretty much my God in trading, or the thing that I care the most about. And so as long as I care, I'm basically only trading just because I want to make money. I'll be angry and impatient. But if I care about something more than just making money, then that should help me be patient. And in the past, about a year ago, I did on Instagram. I normally post all my trades on Instagram, and I've been more active on Instagram posting my trades. But now I want to try to at least each week make a trade recap on YouTube going over my trades. Okay, but anyway, one time I made a post and I said that trading is an exercise in mental health, and making money is a byproduct. So when I remembered that, I thought, Okay, so if now I trade to exercise mental health, such as being patient and staying disciplined, following rules that I set for myself, keeping a track record, and even simple stuff like having a curfew, because the market for me, I'm on the East Coast, or no, the West Coast, California. So the market opens at 6:30, so I try to sleep like no later than 11 or around 11, like lights out and I should be in bed. So I'll wake up early enough to prepare for the market, which is usually around 5:45 a.m. So all that stuff, like just keeping a sleep schedule like that, and it's hard on the weekends. I should also keep a consistent sleep schedule on the weekends too. So stuff like that, including getting enough sleep, that for me is a component of mental health too. So if I trade and I say, okay, I care more about this exercise and mental health while I trade, then just trading to make a living already, or just to at least get over the PDT rule already, then I'll be more patient. And so now I think, okay, I figured out the problem, and so this is how mental health affects trading. And you should have a reason for trading other than just making money, or you'll likely get angry and impatient, especially if you're in the United States and you're under the PDT rule. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about mental health, and then now I took a screenshot of my, excuse me, of my trade, so I can go over the trade recap now. Alright, so this is a trade that I made. This was after hours on MEDS, MEDS. So here's a 5-minute chart. So the market opens at 6:30 here, and we can see pre-market that it spiked, and then when it opened, it lost its pre-market gain, and then it started to consolidate midday around between $14 to $16, and then right before market closed, it started to perk up a bit, and the market closes at 1 o'clock or 13 hours or the military time on this chart. And so around 14 or at 2 o'clock, you can see that the pre-market high, or that the stock made a new high. It broke the pre-market high, and then the pre-market high was about like 21 something, and then I ended up buying after hours around $21, and then you can see the green circle where I bought it. And so here's how the 1-minute chart looks like. The green circle's there, and then you can see I had time to cut my loss, like when it was going under $20. And then I was thinking, okay, I can risk the support. It made a little bit of support after hours around 1850, briefly. So I was thinking, okay, as long as 1850 is holding, I know most short sellers, they probably shorted during market opened around $18 soon after 7 o'clock, because that's when most of the volume was traded. So most short sellers wouldn't short pre-market. They would short when the market opens. Okay, and so as long as it's around 1850, I'm thinking most short sellers would be squeezed. But then you can see that on the 1 minute chart, it went down to almost $18, and that's when I should have cut my loss. But I didn't. I ended up holding, and then it started to quickly go down, and finally I cut my loss when it broke the support during the time when it consolidated around $14 or a little bit above $14. That's when I finally cut my loss. But even then, I was still being a little stubborn because it went under 14, then it was starting to kind of hold that area, and then finally, when it went to down to like $13, I finally cut my loss. But anyway, as I said before, this was just uh, a trade that I ended up getting impatient on, and this technically was it formed an overextended gap up, but the reason why I didn't trade it is because after the reverse split, the float was, I think, around 600K, and so that's considered a micro float, and then it was rotating through its float a lot. So I thought the potential for a short squeeze is too high, so I'm not going to short this stock, even though, as you can see, I could have shorted it in the morning and then covered midday or whatever. But anyway, it wasn't technically an A setup, so I didn't trade it. But I was thinking, okay, might do a short squeeze, but still, I normally, when I looked at my track record, I found out it's not really worth it to try to buy or dip buy overextended gap ups in anticipation of a short squeeze, because my track record shows that's not a high winning percentage pattern for me. But anyway, in this case, I could have dip bought it around 14 or 16 and made like 20 or 30% or so. But anyway, that's what was going on. That I was impatient and just thinking, oh, I want to just get over the PDT rule already, make money. So that's why I ended up buying, even though I knew that I shouldn't buy this setup. But now, hopefully, I'll be trading and caring more about it being an exercise in mental health. And then I'll think of, as long as I do that, I'll can also reap the byproduct, which is making money. Okay, so that's it for the trade recap, and then this is how the daily chart looked. So you can see on day 3 when it started trading with high volume, gapped up from like 8 or 9, gapped up over 100% on day 3 or the day I traded it. Okay, and then this is a screenshot of my entry and exit. And my balance now dropped. So in the last video it was around 2,500. Now I have 2,400. All right, so that's it for the trade recap. And next time, hopefully, I'll be caring more about maintaining mental health instead of just getting over the PDT rule ASAP.